Okay, this is Federalist 12, Part 5. Before I read the last of this paper, I wanted to show you a few books that I have read that have helped me understand the Federalist Papers better, understand the founding of the United States, the framing of the Constitution much better. So when you can, maybe look at these books, read them, or as I have said before, you can find videos of these professors talking about their books, about other subject matters that will make the founding of America a little bit more understandable. One of these books I have mentioned, Jack Rakove, Rakove. It's called Original Meanings. Original Meanings. Now, I don't expect you to start reading this book if your English language skills have not improved yet. So you have to wait for a while. But with time, you will get there. This is a book that came out last year. It's called The Framers Coup. It's a really good book. I was lucky to come across it when the book was just released. And I read it towards the very end of 2016 and the beginning of 2017. It starts with the working and shortcomings of the first Constitution of the United States, and it goes all the way to the writing of the Bill of Rights. It has many references. It is a really good book. So listen to the professor's talks. He's got 2 or 3 talks on YouTube and other places. I encourage you to listen to those. I've mentioned this book, Unruly Americans, okay? Unruly Americans by Woody Holton. This will kind of give you the background of what led to the writing of the Constitution, but he focuses a lot on the issues of credit, paper money, of things like that. Taxation, creditors, debtors, which the last part of this Federalist Paper 12 kind of indirectly will be talking about when he talks about collecting taxes. So this book is important. This book, I have mentioned it before, Ratification. It's by Pauline Maier. It says what happened in the ratifying conventions of the 13 states. It's very helpful. It weaves the story. It kind of tells the story of what happened in every convention in every state. So check this out. And you can read these, if you read 30 minutes to an hour a day, it'll take you a year or 2 to read them all once you get comfortable with your English language skills. Don't have to read 5 hours a day, but if you read consistently 30 minutes here, an hour there, on the average, you can finish all of these in a couple of years. And in the meanwhile, you can listen, review the Federalist Papers, and every time you review it, it just makes more sense. And I showed you this. It's the Teaching Company's Great Courses. This one is called The Great Debate. It's on DVDs, but now you can access it online. You can subscribe to them. The good thing about this is that the text of the talk of the professor is available. So it'll improve your language skills. And then it's good. It talks about the Federalists, Anti-Federalists. Even though I don't talk a lot about Anti-Federalists, they're very important to know about. because had they not been around, we don't know when and if we would have had the Bill of Rights, which is important. So just gradually listen to these professors, watch some of their lectures. Those are really, really fun. You learn a lot, and it's really helpful. So let me start reading the last part of Federalist 12. Oh, by the way, don't forget, I'm putting on this playlist a reading of these Federalists by various Americans who have volunteered for LibriVox.org. There are videos that you see, and they usually read them fast, but listen to those too. You will see how they read it compared to what we are doing here. Because I want you to be able to go over them over and over again, get to know the words, be comfortable with the words. All right, what will be the consequence if we are not able to avail ourselves of the sources in question in its full extent? A nation cannot long exist without revenue. Destitute of this essential support, without this essential support, it must resign its independence and sink into the degraded condition of a province. Sink means go to the bottom, become degraded, not worth anything. This is an extremity to which no government will of choice accede. Revenue, therefore, must be had at all events. In this country, if the principal part not be drawn from commerce, it must fall with oppressive weight upon land. So if commerce doesn't bring the revenue, if we can't get the revenue that the government needs from the taxes on imports, then it would be horrible, because it would be oppressive. It would oppress people if you were to tax them on land. He doesn't say it here, but he's reminding people that Daniel Shays' rebellion, a rebellion that had happened in Massachusetts at the end of 1786 and the beginning of 1787, had to do with the taxes that the state was putting on these farmers, the land taxes. And they had just come back from fighting a war. They just didn't have the money. So there was a rebellion. So he says, remember, if we put all the taxes on land and property of people, we'll be asking for trouble. Okay, it has been already intimated that excises in their true signification are too little in unison with the feelings of the people to admit of great use being made of that mode of taxation. Remember, I talk about excise. It's a tax on certain items like liquor, things like that. He says if we were to do excise tax, we can only bring a little bit of the revenue from excise tax without making people very mad at us, very uncomfortable. So he says there are limits to doing that. Nor, indeed, in the states where almost the sole employment is agriculture, are the objects proper for excise sufficiently numerous to permit every ample collections in that way. Personal estate, as has been before remarked, from the difficulty of tracing it, cannot be subjected to large contributions by any other means than by taxes on consumption. In populous cities, it may be enough the subject of conjecture to occasion the oppression of individuals without much aggregate benefit to the state. But beyond these circles, it must, in a great measure, escape the eye and the hand of the tax gatherer. As the necessities of the state, nevertheless, must be satisfied in some mode or other, the defect of other resources must throw the principal weight of the public burdens on the possessors of the land. And as, on the other hand, the wants of the government can never obtain an adequate supply unless all the sources of revenue are open to its demands, the finances of the community, under such embarrassments, cannot be put into a situation consistent with its respectability or its security. Thus we shall not even have the consolations of a full treasury to atone for the oppression of that valuable class of citizens who are employed in the cultivation of the soil. But public and private distress will keep pace with each other in gloomy concert and unite in deploring the infatuation of those consuls which led to disunion. If we be so stubborn as to think that we can only tax land and have enough money to raise revenue, to have enough money as revenue to run the government, we are mistaken. And then that will create so much headache for us, and that will lead to disunion. We are crazy if we disunite, because we are trying to set an example for the world that a republican form of government is best for humanity. And all those kings in Spain, in Britain, and France would love to see us not be able to do that. And they will be laughing at us. So, see you in Federalist 13.